The ICE deportation flight lands with 161 Cuban deportees, the largest number ever aboard a single plane, officials here tell me. All returned to their homeland in shackles. For decades, Cubans arriving in the U.S. were considered refugees fleeing communism and received preferential immigration status. But under President Trump's second term, their political fortunes have shifted radically. Potentially tens of thousands now face the threat of deportation. This is the first time the Cuban government has allowed international media to film the arrival of a U.S. flight transporting their deported citizens. This enormous plane that has just landed behind me is full of Cuban deportees. For many of them, it'll be the first time they touch Cuban soil in years. And despite the fact that U.S.-Cuban relations are at their worst point in decades, these deportation flights have continued. The deportees are unshackled and disembark the plane, a few at a time, to begin reprocessing. This man complains to us that he had tight handcuffs on for hours and lost feeling in his arms and legs. Immediately, we notice a woman coming off the plane who is visibly distraught. We are only able to ask the woman, Yudierkis Reyes, a few questions before her reprocessing begins, but the story she tells us is chilling. They left behind my 2-year-old daughter. I lost her, she tells me, referring to ICE officials. They told me the girl was American and could not leave the country. According to Reyes, she was arrested in June during a routine check-in with ICE in Nebraska, where she was living with her U.S.-born daughter. Reyes says she then spent more than 3 months in detention centers. She was being deported, she said ICE officials told her, for having pleaded no contest to a second-degree assault charge in 2023, for which Reyes was placed on probation and served no jail time. In a statement to CNN, the Department of Homeland Security called Reyes a, quote, criminal illegal alien and child abuser, although court records don't show any such conviction. Reyes faced a child abuse no injury charge as her infant daughter was in the house during the 2023 assault incident. But a search of Nebraska court records shows that prosecutors dropped the child abuse charge against Reyes as part of her plea deal. The DHS statement goes on to say Reyes' child, who she had custody of, remained with her father, a, quote, U.S. citizen, at his request. CNN spoke with the girl's father, who said he was a U.S. resident, not a U.S. citizen, and had crossed illegally into the U.S. with Reyes from Mexico, and that he did not want the girl to travel to Cuba as, quote, life would be too hard for her there. These haphazard, excruciating family separations are likely to become more common if the Trump administration is able to follow through on deporting tens of thousands of Cubans who came to the U.S. on the parole program during the Biden administration. It remains to be seen if Cuba is willing or able to accept all of those deportees, as the island reels from worsening shortages of electricity, water, and food, and increased U.S. economic sanctions. Cuban immigration officials say deportees are treated humanely, and in most cases processed and released within hours. They're Cuban, this official tells us. They go home, where their family is. They don't have a problem with immigration to be reinserted into society. Many of these deportees, though, say they sold everything they owned to finance their journey to the U.S., and little remains for them in Cuba. Others, like Yudierkis Reyes, can't bear to be separated from the family they left behind. If I don't get her back, I am going, she says. I hope Cuba doesn't ask for me back. No country. They will have to let me go. Whatever amount of time I have to be locked up, I will be. For some, there's simply nothing more that they can lose. And even as the Trump administration ramps up deportations from the U.S., many of these Cuban deportees say they will find a way to return. Patrick Ottman, CNN Havana.